So for this video, I want to talk about this horrible tragedy that took place near Columbus, Ohio. In the suburbs of Columbus, Ohio, you had the Blendon police officers shoot and kill this young black woman by the name of Takia Young. You know, this woman was 21 years old. She was pregnant, and the police killed her. You know, police officers shot and killed this young woman and killed her unborn child. From what I understand, this young woman had two other kids, and now those kids are without a mother. So let's talk about this situation. So this woman goes shopping at a Kroger's grocery store. She leaves the store. She gets into her vehicle, and a police officer approaches her while she's in the vehicle. The officer knocks on her window on the driver's side, and this officer tells her to get out of the car. He repeats himself a couple of times, and she basically asks why. And then he says, someone said that you had stole some stuff from the store, and he repeatedly asks her to get out. And then you have a second officer who arrives on the scene. This officer gets in front of the vehicle. This officer puts his hand on the vehicle, and the woman refuses to get out, and then she proceeds to drive away, pushing the officer that's in front. At some point, his feet are off the ground, and that officer proceeds to shoot and kill this young woman. And again, the young woman was pregnant. Her child is gone. And all of this began because of some allegation of theft. Now, the family's attorney denies the allegations. He says that she was not stealing from the store. There's no evidence that she was stealing from the store from what the attorney is saying. And I haven't seen any reports that they recovered any stolen items from her vehicle. So you have a situation where a young woman is accused of theft and ends up dead behind it. Now, you have the police unions and stuff like that doing what they usually do, defending killer cops. And these unions, union members are defending this, basically saying that it's justified, implying that that officer was justified in what he did. First of all, in reading several articles about this situation, it's clear that that officer violated policy, by being in front of the vehicle. That's a clear violation of police enforcement policies, according to several articles that I read. He was not supposed to be in the pathway of a vehicle. So that's one thing. The other thing is this. This tragedy was not necessary. The police didn't have to exercise that kind of force in this particular situation. This is not a situation where this woman committed, armed robbery or was accused of armed robbery. This is not a situation where this young woman shot and killed somebody or threatened somebody or harmed someone in any kind of way or committed any kind of major crime. They had accused this woman of stealing some alcohol. And you mean to tell me that something as minor as that escalates to the point where this young woman is shot and killed? They did not have to pursue this situation the way they did. That officer did not have to shoot that young woman. He was, on the side of the vehicle, when this woman pulled off and she was turning her steering wheel towards the right to evade that officer. And, so it wasn't a situation where she was literally trying to run this officer over. She was trying to move around him. And, and he was not in a situation where he was being ran over by this car. He did not have to shoot. He did not have to get in front of this vehicle. It is not that serious. They could have simply took down her license plate number and, tracked her down and arrest her at another time. Either arrest her at her home or arrest her at some other location at her place of employment or whatever. This situation didn't have to go this far. And it's just a damn shame that here we have another black person killed at the hands of these police. And you got these punkified police defending this stuff. A police union. And this is the reason why, this is not a situation of a few bad apples. Anytime you have a union, that represents officers defending these killer cops time and time again, that tells you that there's something wrong with such an institution. It's not just about some individual making a bad decision when you have the police apparatus defending this guy. They're trying to say, well, she was using a car as a deadly weapon and all that kind of stuff. It's just crazy, man. It's just crazy that you have this situation. There's an investigation going on right now. The Ohio Bureau of Investigation is conducting an investigation. And I hope that the Justice Department investigates this as well, to make sure, that there is justice in this situation, to make sure that these officers are held accountable if they are, in fact, guilty of committing a crime. I think that we need to have a full investigation. We need to see the surveillance video. We need to see, and hear from these witnesses and all that kind of stuff to see what they have to say about this situation. And the fact of the matter is, even if this young woman did steal from the store, it shouldn't have reached a point where this young woman is dead. It shouldn't have reached a point where, this officer felt the need to fire a shot into that car and kill that young woman. This is just crazy that here we go again with another young person gunned down by the police. Now, before I close out, I will say this, even though I believe that the police are dead wrong in this situation, many of us have these conversations with our kids about how to interact with the police, with our young people about how to interact with these police. We have to do everything in our power. And this is not to place the burden on us. The burden is on these police. They should be there to protect and serve and not to harass, brutalize, and kill us. But we need to be cautious in how we deal with these police. I was reading this article and watching this video where you had this law enforcement expert talking about the laws in this particular area, basically saying that if the police give you a lawful instruction, you have a legal obligation to comply with that lawful instruction. And I think that if she had complied, this situation would have turned out differently. But even if she, even though she did not comply, that is still no justification for what these punk police did to this woman. So, I think that, we have to teach our young people not to resist the police, not to run from the police in any kind of way, because they will use that as an excuse to kill you. They will use anything as an excuse to kill you. I mean, it's like, how many examples of police brutality do we need to see in order to understand what we're dealing with when we deal with the police? These police don't give a damn about your black life. So you have to keep that in mind as you deal with them, as you talk to them, as you interact with them, so that you can make sure that you leave the scene alive, and then you can press charges against them or file complaints against them. It's very important to leave the scene alive. So I just had to share those quick thoughts about this situation, and I hope that there's justice for Takia Young. Peace.